everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning Fan Show. I'd like to thank you all for joining me, whether it's via Spreaker.com on the live broadcast and just the audio, Facebook and Facebook Live through the Fan Show's Facebook page, or if you're listening to this through On Demand by Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, or of course Spreaker.com. I see Adam, Devin, and Keith have jumped in live early on Facebook.com. I appreciate you guys. It is Thursday. It is October the 3rd. So the third day of the month is also Thursday. Not that that has any correlation to each other, but you get what I mean. All right, we're trying to have a little fun here. On this Thursday, it is our preview day. We're going to go down the list of all the games happening, including your Survivor Pick'em Pool top 3 choices. If you're in Survivor pools out there, office, friendly, sibling, whatever the case may be. And then, of course, we have a special guest. We have all the latest breaking news. We have a lot of stuff planned for today's episode, so we might as well and buckle up and get right to it with today's headlines. And headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, where they want to customize your world. They can make you really so many awesome things. They do jerseys, in fact. They did not do this one. This is a 49ers jersey that I got online several years ago, and I love it. It still fits just as good. It's a Patrick Willis one. But the fact is that they can. I've gone in, I've seen them, I've touched the jerseys that they do. And then, of course, they can do T-shirts, hats, other apparel. They can even do pants, like workout pants. I don't know if they can do jeans. They could try. They could probably make a patch to put on your jeans. And then, of course, they do a number of other things that we here at the Fan Show have and that we use on the regular, such as our tablecloth, our backdrop, our mic flags that have the little Fan Show logo on them. And then they can do stickers. They can do business cards. They can do numerous other promotional advertising or other type of things. So visit their website, dynamiteenterprises.com, see what they've got, and if there's something that you want that they don't have, reach out to them, Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com, and ask him, get a quote, see if they can make it work. And if you see something on there that you like, say, hey, saw that you guys on the Fan Show, kind of a thing. It is kind of a thing, to be honest. So let's make a deal. Huh? What do you think about that? And they probably will, because they're awesome like that. So Dynamite Enterprises, where they want to customize your world. And so we begin Thursday's episode with a little bit of breaking news that is not our typical breaking news. I need to go ahead and issue a big congratulations to one of my best friends, Jeremy Funk, who got engaged. Look at how my man went and popped the big question on a cliff overseas in, I believe that's Norway. I've seen the photo probably as a screensaver several times in my life, but that's my man down on one knee proposing to his girlfriend Rachel, and they are one of the cutest couples I've ever seen. I'm not just saying that because he's my best friend, and I can say that, but it's just, love is a beautiful thing. Love is in the air. I saw that Jacob Stats, kicker for the Quad City Steamwheelers, is a Facebook official in a relationship as of today, and she looks like she should be dating a quarterback. I don't know if she knows he's a kicker, but we love him all the same here. But again, congratulations to my man Jeremy Funk on getting engaged. Never thought I'd see the day, to be honest, but when he finally brought her back home to Spokane and we got to hang out a little bit, I gave her the best friend thumbs up of approval, and now they are going to spend the rest of their lives together. So that's going to be really good for them. I'm excited for them to get back stateside so that we can do all the planning and all the cool fun stuff like the bachelor party, and the bachelor party is going to be awesome. So congratulations to Jeremy and Rachel. You guys are perfect for each other. So now then that we've got that breaking news out of the way, we can get to the actual big-time breaking news. And, coincidentally, our question of the day. It was announced earlier today that IFL Commissioner Mike Alshouse has stepped down or resigned. I don't buy it. A lot of people probably don't either, but that is their story. They're sticking with it. He has stepped down effective immediately to pursue other opportunities in life. Felt that after 10 years with the league, it was the right time to do so. And now the board of directors are in search mode for his successor, the next commissioner of the Indoor Football League. If they're watching, I know a few people that are available. So the question of the day then is this a smart move for the Indoor Football League? Of course, people fear change, some welcome it. It really depends on your circumstances. I had the question asked to me when there was the first breaking news of the week. I guess not really breaking news, but just made official that the Sioux Falls Storm have announced their new ownership. That was effective as of yesterday. 3 couples, there are 3 sisters and their husbands that have resumed ownership from Todd Tryon. And basically, I got a few people that asked me, do you think this is a good move? I think it is a great move because I think that, listening to their comments and their business ventures outside of owning an actual team, sounds like they're pretty smart business folks. And it's not just one person controlling everything. It is a group of people. Now, granted, they're family, but still, business and family, hard to mix, but if you can, it can be a very, very beautiful thing. A very good thing for business. So I said, if the Storm sucked, that everybody, fans, family of fans, like everyone and their dog would be saying, yeah, let's get new ownership in there. Let's get a new head coach while we're at it. People welcome that kind of change when the circumstances call for a change. The Storm are the reigning champions right now, so it's not exactly a situation that merits, I think we need a change. Where you think the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, quarterback? No, hire. Oh, head coach, general manager? No, hire. The owner? Yeah, we got to change things up. That's very odd for that kind of conversation to happen. So I still think it's a good thing. I think they found a great ownership group. I don't think they would have pulled the trigger on the deal if it wasn't a good fit for the team. So Storm fans, you guys can rest easy. I think you are in good hands. So now we look to the league, the Indoor Football League, and ask ourselves, is this a good move? Whether it was Alshouse's choice or not, doesn't matter. He is now out of the picture. They're looking for someone new. With everything going on in the league this offseason alone, there is a lot that will be on the plate of that new IFL commissioner. So, question of the day, is this a good move? And I guess a follow-up would be, what do you think it means for the league's future? Bigger, better, or just more of the same? Because really, it's them and the owners, but I guess the buck kind of stops with the commissioner and he has the final say. Let's get to some comments. I know you guys have been patiently waiting, and I do appreciate that. I see Keith says, why do you think they are pushing the shock announcement further out? I have my own theories on it, but for right now, I'll just go ahead and say that it's because not everything was in place that needed to be. And that they needed another week. What's another week? As Jeff said in one of the groups. What's another week? Adam says the Arizona-Cincinnati game is the Tank Bowl. You have a different Tank Bowl every week, Adam. It was like Miami and whatever other team. Basically, any team that's below 500 in Miami is a Tank Bowl. But this one, yes, Arizona-Cincinnati could be the Tank Bowl. What's Arizona tanking for, though? They went and they got their quarterback, and it's not working out. Are they going for the number 1 overall pick to get the next Bosa? I don't know. Cincinnati would certainly be looking for Andy Dalton's successor because I think Cincinnati fans have had just about enough of the Red Rifle probably about 3 years ago. So we will see what happens there. And yes, Adam has submitted a kilt design as part of No Pants Nation at sportkilt.com. You should go and vote for his design. Again, that is sportkilt.com. And let's see here. He also says that's romantic as F. Yes, it is. Let's see here. And then we have Bachelor Party in Vegas. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Ernesto Lacayo, Ant, and Cody have joined. Good to see you guys. And Kaylee, good to see you. Congratulations to Cody Barber, who has re-signed with the Bismarck Bucks as their kicker. Daquan Neal has been one of the biggest free agent signings so far, and free agency's only been going on for about 72 hours now. He will make his way to Tucson to follow Coach Dixie Wooten, I imagine. Of course, Connor Hollenbeck is the re-signee for the Barnstormers. And then we had Marquise Rogers, who is going to be joining the San Diego Strike Force, and Markel Wade joining the Strike Force as well. Waiting to see what happens with the Blizzard and the River Kings, obviously. And, of course, Oakland has an entire team to build. Who will they get? They're going to be one of those destination teams as well. I can see them getting Devontae Sapp Lynch for sure. And Ernesto says he enjoys the show. I enjoy you, Ernesto. I really do. I hope things are better with the Strike Force this year. And I know there's been a lot of talk about your guys as head coach. My personal feelings aside, it's about you guys, the players, and of course fans getting the product that they paid money to see. And I really do hope that you guys can put out competitive football this 2020 season, because it's going to be a great landscape as far as the league is concerned. So Ernesto, wishing you all the best. I see Chris Hill has joined, and my man Ty Knight, defensive coordinator for one of the high schools in Sioux Falls, and they're pretty awesome. He's got a viral video right now out on the interwebs. So let's go ahead and go through my pick'em. You guys can continue to answer and weigh in if you think the Alls House move is a good or a bad sign for the league that's doing a lot in this offseason. Adam says, actually, I think Alls House was commissioner for 6 years. I'll have to look. I don't know, because I think the email I got said 10, but I could be wrong because I got the press release. And in fact, I'll go ahead and read that press release to you right now. So if I bring it up here, for immediate release, the Indoor Football League announced today that Commissioner Michael Allshouse has resigned to pursue other professional opportunities. Effective immediately, the board has begun a search for Allshouse's successor. After 10 years of service to the IFL, I repeat, after 10 years of service to the IFL, it is the right time for me to step away from the organization. Now, that doesn't say after 10 years of commissioner, so he could have only been commissioner for 6, but it doesn't give me that. I'm reading it here in the freaking press release, okay? So sue me. Everybody's jumping on every minor detail of my posts lately. It's getting goddamn ridiculous, but okay. Anyway, IFL chairwoman Kathy Trinkler stated the IFL Board of Directors is grateful for Mike's years of service and leadership. Although we are sad to see him go, we fully support his decision and are thankful for his many accomplishments in the IFL. We wish him nothing but the best as he continues his professional career. So, sounds like everything is all good in the hood. But I have heard several things that lead me to believe that this was not quite as mutual and peaceful of a parting as they're leading it to believe. But it doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't. I think who they will get will be a great person. And for those of you wondering, do you know who it is? I do. I've known for a while. And it's not easy keeping secrets. I don't like it, especially when someone asks, can you keep this a secret? You're like, yeah. And then you're like, can I? I think I can. And then you do, but then somebody else leaks it, and you're like, how the heck? What? Why do you even know? Oh, it's so irritating. So annoying. So frustrating. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the pick'em. You guys can go ahead and continue to weigh in as far as if you feel this is a good move for the IFL. So, week 5 of the NFL, National Football League. Don't forget, Joker comes out tonight. Midnight release, or probably earlier. I think the whole midnight release was 5 or 10 years ago, if I remember right. Like, I saw Endgame and Infinity War at like 7 o'clock Thursday night. So, anyway, it comes out tonight and then in theaters tomorrow. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, once again, in theaters tonight. So we have the Rams and Seahawks tonight, a battle of 3-1 divisional rivals. I love this kind of game because it's a win-win for me with whoever wins and whoever loses. It's a game that when two divisional teams have a loss and your team does not have a loss, that means that your next game can be a loss, but you don't want it to be a loss because one of these teams is going to have, hopefully, 2 losses, and there's no ties in it. If these two teams tie, I'm going to lose it. But that will happen tonight, immediately following the show. Funny how that works. It's in Seattle. It's prime time. I wouldn't have thought that they were going to lose to New Orleans, though, in Seattle, in the rain. So this one, definitely not a Survivor Pool Pick'em choice. That's for damn sure. But I will go ahead and say that I think give the nod to the home team. I don't know what the Rams were doing against Tampa Bay last week at home. If they win, I will not be surprised because it is the Rams and they do things like that. But for the Seahawks, I think you have to give the nod to the home team, although there is a jinx stat below. It says Seahawks are 8-1 in Thursday primetime games since 2010. So maybe you want to pick the Rams with that little tidbit. I don't know why they do that. And then you have the Patriots and Redskins. Now, this is what you could technically call a trap game. Patriots 4-0, Redskins 0-4. I would not ever pick the Redskins in this, but there's a little jinx stat below this one, too. It says Patriots 10-0 on the road in October since 2014. And I don't believe they're going to play another winless team all month. So this might be that perfect match for an upset. Pick as you dare. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to pick the Pats, but it will not surprise me if the 0-4 Redskins somehow manage to pull this one off. How crazy would that be? Then Bills, Titans, 3-1 and 2-2. I'm going to go with the Bills, even though this is the kind of game that they would lose because they should win, right? That's Buffalo logic. Ravens and Steelers. Ravens are on a 2-loss streak right now. Steelers, very convincing win, but it was over Cincinnati, so how big of a win was that? I'm going to go with the Ravens. This may be a Survivor Pick'em Pool game because I don't see the Ravens dropping 3 in a row, especially a third one, that third in a row being to a divisional opponent when the division is very much up for grabs right now. The Browns lead the division. I repeat, the Browns lead the AFC North right now. Jets and Eagles. Sam Darnold still questionable to return. I guess he looked good in practice, though, so the mono thing the worst is probably behind them. I'm going to pick the Eagles. And then we have the Bears and the Raiders. Now, keep in mind that the Jets are coming off a bye. Take that for whatever it's worth. That used to mean something. I don't really think that means a whole lot anymore. Bears, Raiders. I'm going to go with the Bears, and I'm going to say that this is probably one of your Survivor Pool picks as well. The Raiders have looked good at time, but not great. And the Bears have looked better and better since their opening season loss to Green Bay at home. They're 3-1, so they're heating up right now, which is good. And then Khalil Mack, obviously facing his former team. This could be the Khalil Mack revenge game. In fact, it is. It's the first time he's facing Oakland since being traded. So, yeah, you're going to want to circle the Bears a couple of times on this one. That's a Survivor Pool pick'em right there. Vikings and Giants, which... I mean, my God, am I really going to pick the Giants with a rookie quarterback? Yes, I am, because the Vikings have looked awful. Awful. How are they 500 right now? Awful. Buccaneers, Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints at home. I'm not going to say that the Buccaneers win over the Rams on the road was a fluke, but by God, it feels like one. Falcons and Texans. Texans really need this one because the AFC South is very much going to be one of those up-for-grabs divisions again this year, especially with Indy losing this last week. So I'm going to take the Texans. Falcons just do not look very good. Bengals and Cardinals. I'm going to say Cardinals, but I really don't know. They just look like the slightly better team. Then we have the Jaguars and the Panthers. I'm going to say the Jaguars. Let's get that Minshew mania going up to full steam here. Broncos and Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers at home, although it wouldn't surprise me if they lost. And then America's game of the week, Packers, Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Packers to win on the road. Colts and Chiefs, go with the Chiefs. That's probably a survivor pool pick'em as well. And then the Browns and the 49ers on Monday night, survivor pool pick'em. You can go with my 49ers. I feel that with confidence. It's Monday Night Football, and my team is feeling it right now. They are feeling it. And producer Rob and I talk more about it in our interview. Let's see. Adam says, I thought Allhouse was a good commissioner, better than Benzio. However you say that last name. I see that we have Norris joining us, Dixie, and the lovely Mrs. Fan Show. And she's like, why are there Queen lyrics on your ticker? I just put stuff down there to see if people are actually reading it. So I was hoping if I did that people would continue the song in the comments. But since I'm going to assume that she's the first one to see it, that's a failed experiment. Always pay attention to the ticker, because there's important stuff down there. There is. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And I think for this week 5, there's not like a lot of matchups that just pop out to you, which is fine. But as I mentioned to producer Rob in our interview, the Browns-49ers game really should be the game of the week. It's not. It won't be, because the Cowboys are playing. It doesn't matter who their opponent is. If the Cowboys are playing at home, that's America's game of the freaking week. But they're playing the Packers. They're both 3-1. So they're going to go ahead and try to sell that one as the game of the week. When really, as far as primetime games go, week 5 probably has the best of them all, which is the Seahawks and Rams tonight, 49ers and Browns Monday night, and then the Sunday night game is the Colts and the Chiefs. And that one could be better, but with the Colts being 2-2 and the Chiefs 4-0, you probably get what you get. They were probably hoping that this was going to be Luck versus Mahomes, right? That was probably the big hope when they put this game together for Sunday Night Football. But still, week 5, solid lineup. So there's your survivor pick'em pool top 3, the 49ers against the Browns. Then we have the... Let's see. I'm going to say, what was the other one? Oh, the Bears over the Raiders, and then the probably the Eagles over the Jets, or even the Ravens over the Steelers if you were feeling oh so bold and maybe you've already picked the Bears this season. So you have 3 options there if you need them. And I see Jeremy has joined me. Joe has joined me. And Julian also. Good to see you guys. So for those of you just joining us for about the next 5 minutes, the question of the day is the Indoor Football League and Commissioner Allshouse stepping down. Is this a good move for the league, yes or no? In wrestling news, we had the debut of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, and I watched it, and I thought it was fantastic. It had a very WCW Impact / NXT feel to it, where there was a lot more action and a little less conversation. And I think that's what we can all hope for. SmackDown premieres on Fox tomorrow night, so if you're still watching WWE, I would tune into that, because usually these premiere episodes, they go all out, they pull out all the stops, and The Rock is returning. I had NXT's season premiere last night on Wednesday, so those Wednesday night wars have officially begun if you're following wrestling. And then if you're in the Spokane area, Brad Williams is in town this weekend, so go and see him at the Spokane Comedy Club. So let's get a few more answers here. Hey, Joe, good to see you. I think it's going to be great for the league, because I know that there were several owners and people of higher position with certain teams and front offices that were not big fans of Allshouse. And I don't know if that was that he wore out his welcome, or maybe he was just kind of a yes man, or whatever the case may be. I think that this next person will not be as much of a yes man. I think that they really will try to do what's best for the league and make some big changes for the better. So hopefully we get that in 2020, since it's already shaping up to be a great 2020 as is. Rumor has it. So the rumor mill roundup is that there are teams in El Paso and New Orleans looking to join the IFL. El Paso, I love. New Orleans, who's going to play them? Geographically, how does that look? And then, of course, Massachusetts is still out there floating around somewhere. But I told you that the goal for the IFL was 16 teams by 2020, and if all goes right, they will have their 16 teams by 2020. So, once again, the information right here. I got it. Let's see. Joe says, I think it's a horrible move. It gives the appearance that there is biasness. interesting perspective. I mean, if they did it mid-season, I feel like that's a worse look than obviously shortly after an off-season. Now, granted, free agency has begun, but still, it's not like it's right before the season started or in the middle of a season and things are chaos and now he's stepping down. This is a good time to step down. Jose says, how do you see the Dolphins? You probably already said something about that. The Dolphins right now, until they beat somebody, are the worst team in the NFL. And that's only because they haven't played, the Redskins, or I guess some people are saying even the Vikings. Vikings look terrible. Their offense, their defense is good, but the Vikings still look bad. And I feel bad because I have Adam Thielen on my fantasy team. But Vikings want their money back right now. Receivers are frustrated, but the Dolphins, it seems like everybody's frustrated. And the Redskins, everybody's frustrated. In fact, I think they said that Gruden was leaning towards starting Colt McCoy for quarterback for the Redskins. So until they play each other, right now the Dolphins are the worst. Or until, I guess, whoever wins first is no longer the worst team in the league. But the Dolphins, man, and yeah, there's Cincinnati out there, but Miami has just looked lost at times. So on the plus side, if you're a Dolphins fan, it can only get better from here. It really can. We remember when the Lions went 0-16, it only got better. When the Browns went 0-16, it only got better, and we're still seeing that now. So you have to get through the worst before you can start building to the best. All right, so have faith, Dolphins fans. The worst probably is here right now for you in 2019, but the best is yet to come. And I'm saying that knowing that the Miami Dolphins are the only team to ever go to have a perfect season. So I guess the best happened in 1972. But if you pull off another perfect season, then hey, I guess that's topping that, because it would be 19-0. Jeremy says, I don't know about moving SmackDown to Friday night. Most of their target demographic is doing something else Friday nights. Yes. Not really. AEW is Wednesday night, and so is NXT. So they're kind of having their developmental brand battle out the new kids on the block. I don't know about New Japan or Ring of Honor or Impact when these are, because Monday and Wednesday were the nights for wrestling, and then SmackDown changed that when it went to Friday, but there was not really any other competition out there. Was it Friday Night Impact? When it was TNA Impact? Was it Friday night? I don't recall. I didn't watch it, so I can't answer that with confidence. Julian says, how you feel about Spokane coming back? If they finally officially announce, I feel great. But until such time, it's only rumors and hashtag scuttlebutt. Sorry, I can't keep a straight face with that. Jeremy wants the New Orleans Voodoo, if the New Orleans team rumor is true. Jose says they're tanking. At what week, if you start out winless, do you start to actually tank? Is it 3, 4, 5? I would say if you start out 0-4 or 5, you have the green light to start tanking, because you've probably assessed what your needs are, and you can maybe start making some trades, because if you trade now and you wind up with the number 1 pick, at least you still have that pick, right? And it's probably going to be, they have Rosen at quarterback, so I guess who do you get? Do you look for another Bosa, another defensive guy, a Clowney? Like, what do you do if you're the Dolphins and you end up with the number 1 pick? Of course, we've seen teams make trades for former number 1 picks or for guys that you thought were going to be their franchise quarterback and then go and draft another quarterback, Cardinals. So it's not unheard of. It's not the craziest thing ever. Let's see. Robert says that he believes Impact was Thursday. Jeremy says ECW was on Friday. Yeah, but how long was that a thing? Just saying. I mean, a great example. But that thing was short-lived awesome. It really was. And I wish they were still doing ECW One Night Stand, because I always thought those pay-per-views were a lot of fun. But yeah, when Spokane finally makes its official announcement, I think a lot of people will breathe a collective sigh of relief, because with that will come their free agency signings, which I think I saw that Lefotu was signed to a team that's not even announced yet. Free agency is happening, and this team isn't even officially announced yet. And I say officially because if you say that this team is going to be a thing before the team is announcing it, you will get chewed out for it. Just saying. So I'm going to let Spokane do its thing, because I have tried to help, and my help is not welcome. Just going to leave it at that. Spokane, you do you, man. All right? Do you. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up. I appreciate you guys following along. It's been a great Thursday night episode. And we're going to go ahead and kick it over exclusively to Spreaker for the interview. Me and producer Rob, we talk about our big matchup with his Browns, my 49ers. So if you guys care to listen, by all means. But I do love hanging out with you guys here on the Facebook Live. Still working on how to get like the interviews, maybe some video interviews up on this particular program. And yes, of course, the F.A.N show intro theme, and then all the other sound bites. So we're working on that, but I do like how well this has gone presentation-wise and just, aesthetically, and how you guys have enjoyed it. So thank you very much for tuning in. Brian, tuned in. Good to see you, man. And yes, Rackleaf Pro Speed says, who need coaches? Reach out, man. And Robert says Lefotu posted that he was signed. Again, so a player is announcing he's been signed to a team that's not even announced yet. I am backing off of this thing as far as I can. Spokane, you do you, all right? You do you, because what do I know? I've only done this for 4 years and one of the most reliable sources for news in the IFL today, but hey, fans' words, not mine. So, you guys are awesome. Here is my interview with producer Rob and our Browns and 49ers Monday Night Football matchup. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is a familiar voice, maybe not as familiar of face, but you know him, you love him, and our teams face off Monday Night Football. Cleveland, San Francisco, the Browns, and the 49ers. Who would have thought that we would be hyping up this matchup more than just for our own personal reasons, but here he is to talk about it, is producer Rob. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
I'm surprised you remembered my phone number, Ty, man. It's been forever since you've had me on this damn show.
Like, how frequent is frequent? Like, just so I can get a gauge of, like, what we're talking about. Because you do all these other shows. In fact, you went and lost my belt to one of these other shows. And yet you're complaining about not being on mine enough.
All right, first of all, it's my belt. I won it. How dare you? I won it fair and square, and thus it was mine to lose fair and square. And I will get it back. I'm actually playing. So, in case you aren't aware, so basically the Wrestling Observer website, which I do a producing role for, we have a fantasy football league, and it has become a little bit of a gimmick on the Brian and Vinny show that we basically, whoever has the belt basically is being defended every week. And so I had it. I lost it the first week to Vinny Verhey, who is the resident football expert on the Observer shows. He had it for the last 3 weeks, and he recently lost it to Mike Sempervive, who co-hosts the Wrestling Observer live show with Brian every day. So I play Mike this week. I guarantee I will win that damn belt back.
Wow, producer Rob with a guarantee on the F.A.N show about winning back a belt that he should never have lost in the first place. But you are right. I digress. It is your belt to lose. I just feel like this is one of those things where you're in there and they're like, oh, hey, that's a really nice belt. We should totally try and take that from you.
To be perfectly honest, it almost went down like that. I was basically goaded into putting it into defending it. So, here we are.
You should have been like, I spent an entire season against some of the toughest, baddest fantasy dudes out there just to win this, and you want me to defend it. You're funny. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, but then considering I went out and got the lowest score in the league the first week, that argument wouldn't hold water for very long.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you gotta work on that. So you're in my league as well, and I actually have Baker Mayfield as a quarterback in one league. I didn't even know I was in this league. This is one of those things where it's like all of a sudden you get an email saying, here's how you did in the draft. And you're like, what draft? And then you look and you're like, oh, not bad. So I'm letting it ride. Like, I'm not really touching anything with that, and the team is like 3-1 right now. So it's like maybe the less involvement I have with my team, the better off it is, because I seem to do the most in the Fan Nation League, and I'm 1-3 there. So I feel like the fantasy football universe is trying to tell me something.
You know what you are? You're that woman who enters the office college basketball tournament pool every week and picks her winners based on which mascot she likes better, and ends up winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, but if that's the case, though, there's one out there that seems to do fairly well each year that's a tree. And I feel like if you pick the mascot that's a tree, it's like you know more than you let on to. And there's some schools that don't even have a mascot.
Fair enough.
So the 49ers and the Browns, you and I talked about this game when the schedule first came out. I was like, we should either try to go or try to be together that weekend just for fun. I feel like neither one's going to happen at this point. But that, hence the phone call to get you on to talk about it, because I don't know how much the experts are playing this one up. But, I mean, if you look at the schedule, other than tonight's game, which is a NFC West matchup, Seahawks and Rams, this one, Monday Night Football, is being talked about, I feel, is one of the games of the week, and it's a primetime game at that. The last few Monday night games have not been very good.
Yeah. Except for the one in week 2. That one was fantastic, but I digress.
What is it about your team and the Jets on Monday Night Football?
Well, I mean, you may or may not know this, but the Browns and Jets was the very first ever Monday Night Football game.
Oh, was it really? There's a fun
was.
fact. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think it was 1970. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, that was the first ever Monday night game. So it's I guess it is something of a tradition.
I mean, I think people could make the argument that maybe the Buccaneers and Saints game is going to be worth watching because the Bucs just beat the Rams by putting up 55 points and moving to 2-2, and the Saints, have beat Seattle and Dallas and are 3-1 with a backup QB. Even though, okay, you can help settle this for me. Is Teddy is he a backup? Or is he just a guy who found a team that he's not good enough to start on unless this situation happens?
I don't know, because I really can't say we got enough. And granted, I obviously didn't follow the Vikings very closely, so I kind of just go by what I saw and what I read in the various websites and whatnot. But I don't know that there's really enough of a. He wasn't there in Minnesota long enough to really say for sure that he was a legitimate starting quarterback. I think he was good. He certainly put up decent numbers. But I don't know if that was a product of, him or just a product of what he had around him.
Yeah.
I feel like I would like to think, that he would put up. I don't know exactly what his numbers have been since he took over in New Orleans, but I don't think they've been particularly stellar. And you'd like to think with Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas at your disposal that you'd be able to put up pretty decent numbers if you were a halfway decent quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if I consider him a true backup. There was a time where I was going to put out the poll, who is the greatest backup quarterback of all time, and I feel like you could have made the argument for Kurt Warner, but it's like once he had that starting job, he had it for a long time, and then he went and started for the Cardinals and went on a Super Bowl run with them as well. Yeah. And then if I do that, now people are going to say, well, Tom Brady is technically the greatest backup of all time because he had to come in for Drew. But he was next in line, right? He was next in the succession. I'm talking about the guy that's on the bench that the only way he is going to see time is if you're up by 40 points or there's a season-ending injury and you literally have no other options out there. And so Hasselbeck, he backed up both Favre and Luck. And he got playing time with Luck, and he did very well with the Colts, but he was a starter with Seattle. So it's a tough question only because you have to lay down what your criteria is that makes a guy an actual true backup.
I feel like the top criteria, if you're going to do something like that, the top criteria has to be the percentage of games
not started.
Not started basically throughout his career. Whether he either played, sparingly because of, like I said, injury or whatever, there has to be that has to be the designation point, I would think.
Yeah, and I would agree with you too. And it's hard to like see the future because you don't know if a guy that's the backup currently, if he's the next guy or if he's just the guy filling that spot until maybe he finds another home. Maybe he gets has enough good film from preseason for somebody to make a trade offer. But it is very difficult. Like I wouldn't say, like let's say Daniel Jones ends up like rattling off wins for the rest of the season for the Giants. People would probably try to argue he's the greatest backup because he got the call to go in for Eli. It's like, yeah, but he was going to eventually. Like they drafted him for that very purpose.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think he would qualify. I think I think to get the designation of a true backup, you need somebody who's like a journeyman, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or a Josh McCown, someone like that, someone who's started off as a backup, came in, ended up played well enough to get a contract somewhere else, then got the contract somewhere else, shit the bed, and ended up becoming a backup again, getting cut, rinse repeat.
So basically, he has like even playing time for every team he's played for. Like he's started 5 games for the Jets. He started 5 games for Tampa Bay. He started 5 games for Indianapolis. I feel like that would be what would make a good backup is that if they don't have one team that is a serious outlier for where they started the most and the rest is just kind of like 3 games here, 8 games here, 5 games there, 12 games here. Like that would be probably a good true backup. All right, well, I'm going to look into that because I'm very curious now, but I wanted to run it by you because I figured as a Cleveland Browns fan, you're like, let me tell you something about backup quarterbacks.
This is true. Up until this year, the backup quarterback has always been the most popular quarterback in Cleveland.
Yeah, that is crazy. This is probably the first year in, a decade that you guys went into a fresh season not looking at who was next in line on the bench.
I would say probably since the fluky Derek Anderson season, who talk about another great backup quarterback. That probably since then.
Yeah. So for you this season, the hype a lot of people feel was not real because of that week 1 debacle, but then obviously you guys have since righted your ship. You lost, you win, you lost, you win. But how do you feel about your Cleveland Browns?
I mean, honestly, I'm happy. I mean, the week 1 was just an absolute debacle, and I can't say that I'm not surprised because I was still definitely surprised. I expected them. I didn't necessarily expect them to win, but I did expect them to put up a fight in that game, and for whatever reason, they just I don't know if it's Beckham and Landry not practicing much during the preseason or whatever the case may have been, but they looked sloppy. And there's a lot. I mean, even last week, they still had way more penalties than I would have liked to see. But I feel like now that they're getting a couple games together, they're starting to get that rhythm. I mean, you can see it. I mean, you could see it last week with Baker and Landry. You could see it the week before with Baker and OBJ. I mean, everything is just slowly starting to come together bit by bit. And I for 4 games into the season, especially considering how week 1 went, 2 wins, and they were in the Rams game up until the very end, and kept them 20 points, which for that Rams offense is pretty stinking good. I can't complain too much about that.
Yeah, I think this team is a good team. There was a guest I had a few weeks ago that said that they were not sold on Mr. Kitchens as a head coach. How do you feel about Freddie Kitchens as the head coach?
I mean, again, I liked the hire when they announced it. I figured the fact that he seemed to get along well with Baker, he seemed to understand how to use Baker, was huge. And so when they announced him as as the head coach, I was perfectly fine with it. Again, as 4 games into his head coaching career, I can't complain. My only complaint about the job he's done so far is if I see them again get a 1st and goal and pass 4 straight times without even play faking to Nick Chubb, I may drive to their team headquarters and bitch slap him myself. there's no excuse. Twice they've done it, where they've had first and goal and just completely didn't even have Chubb in the backfield for any of those plays. It's like I don't understand how you can do that.
Yeah, anytime you're end goal, you at least need to try giving it to your big bruising back. And I feel like that's one of those. If they only had a Carlos Hyde-like back for that situation, and you're like, oh wait, they did, and then they let him go. And I don't understand why people think that Carlos Hyde is like a journeyman or an overrated back, but I thought he did a fantastic job for like every team that he's played for. Like Frank Gore, like the ageless wonder who just hit the 15K club. Like that's insanity.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing, again, the thing with Chubb is he is a bruising type back. I mean, you watch that first touchdown run he had. He literally ran through 4 guys on the way to the end zone, and then that 88-yard touchdown he had that sealed the game. I mean, he got through that hole and he was gone. So quite honestly, he's the best of both worlds. He's a power back and he's got damn good speed.
Yes, I have noticed this about Mr. Chubb, and since I have him on a few of my fantasy teams, I have gone to the liberty of benching him for this week because I don't know how other people do it. I feel like they're not true fans of their team if they can play a guy that's playing against them and try to somehow cheer for both. So I have benched Chubb in the leagues that I have him in lieu of Monday night's matchup, which, I feel, and it may be just me and you, this is going to be a great game, but there's going to be a lot of people out there that, regardless of the outcome, are going to really play it down. And I feel like that's very unfair because, if San Francisco beats the Browns, everybody's going to be like, well, it's the Browns. And I'm going to be like, yeah, but everybody was like, this is going to be a game that the Browns come in and really like light it up or something or whatever BS. And then, of course, if the Browns win, they're going to be like, well, it's because San Francisco had a fucking easy schedule. And it's like, no! Just stop it! That's not how this works.
Here's the thing, Richard. And I like to think, every once in a while I like to impart a little bit of wisdom. I like to, be a little philosophical. And I think, and I don't remember, it may have been Socrates who said this once, but I think it's very appropriate in this scenario. Haters gonna hate. I think they're both good teams. I think, honestly, I think the Niners, if anything, are in a much more difficult situation. I feel like at this point the AFC North is. And again, 4 games into the season, so this is a bit of hyperbole, but I think the AFC North is the Browns to lose. I'm not sold at all on Pittsburgh. Cincinnati looked god awful, and we just ran over what was supposed to be the best team in the league and then put 40 on them. So I don't know. That could have been an anomaly. I don't know, but I definitely think the North is the Browns to lose. Whereas, the Niners, they have the Seahawks who are 3-1. They have the Rams who are 3-1. They're 3-0. That's coming out of the gate. That is a tough looking division.
Yes, and because the Rams and Seahawks play tonight, it is a loss that San Francisco can take should they lose to the Browns, but it's not one that they want, obviously. Like if you have 2 divisional opponents playing each other and each one has a loss and one of them's looking to add a second to that column, like you want to apply the pressure, sweep the leg, Johnny. And it's only week 5, but every game counts in a division like that. So are we doing a wager? Is there something on the line between you and I for this? Because we didn't even talk about it, and this game kind of snuck up on us, and here we are. But I figured I would ask if you had any ideas, because I figure you usually do.
Well, to be fair, that's pretty much how everything goes in my life anymore. Shit just sneaks up on me. I don't even know. Hell, the other day I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, how the hell is it October? But yes, I feel like there should be some sort of small wager. I don't know. You got me on the spot right now. I don't know, a beer or something, or I don't know, bragging rights. We'll figure something out. But yes, I totally agree. We have to have some sort of wager on this game, which will thus guarantee the Browns lose, because that seems to be how these things go for me anymore.
All right, so producer Rob and I are going to think on it because we got a few days here, and then we will tweet it and we will make it Fan Show official, and that way the Twitterverse and social media can hold us accountable for said wager. But Rob, always a pleasure. I wish you and your Browns the best of luck that I can when playing against my team Monday night, and I truly hope it's a game that lives up to the hype. I really do. I think it should be a great one.
I hope Garoppolo blows out his knee in the first play and we win by 40.
Wow. Shots fired. I felt that one all the way over here. Wow, my knee hurts now. That's, oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to go now. All right, Rob, you take care of yourself. Always good talking to you, buddy.
Thank you as always, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All righty, take care.
Bye.
And one more big thank you to producer Rob. I say that very reluctantly because he had to go. He had to have the last word there. It was bye. I mean, taking shots at my Niners like that when I'm trying to be a very respectable, good sport on this. But whatever, I see that clearly the gloves have come off. So we will have our brainstorm session the next couple of days to figure out what this wager will be, what is fair, what is not fair for the winner and the loser. And we will tweet it, we will post it, we will make it Fan Show official. Because remember, folks, as we wrap up this Thursday night episode, that it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, and we are officially out of here until next week. And don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's episode, you can download and subscribe iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud, and give us a like, share, and love on social media. Twitter @FanShowOfficial. Facebook, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. Instagram, The Fan Show. There's a YouTube channel out there somewhere, and even a Snapchat that we never use that is The Fan Show. So until next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.